Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. 3 people have died and 2 children have been seriously injured in a horror head-on collision on the Bass Highway near Carrick. Police yet to determine exactly why one car travelled into the path of an oncoming ute.
2 cars smashed into hundreds of pieces and barely recognisable. The 3 victims hardly stood a chance of surviving.
It would appear the 3 people at the scene, 2 in the 2 males in the Mazda and 1 in the Prado, have died instantly.
A Toyota Prado veering onto the wrong side of the Bass Highway just after 5:30 this morning, crashing into an oncoming Mazda ute. At the point of impact, the driver of the Prado was not wearing a seatbelt.
We don't believe speed was a factor. Fatigue could be involved, alcohol and drugs could be a factor. We won't know that until the investigation takes its course.
Frantic efforts by witnesses to rescue the 2 Launceston men, aged 63 and 65, were in vain. A 33-year-old Selborne man also perished. However, in a miracle, his 2 sons, aged 10 months old and 4 years old, were found in a critical condition but alive.
The condition of both vehicles were pretty bad. I'm just pleased that there were some survivors.
The brothers taken to Launceston for medical treatment and late this afternoon were moved to the Royal Hobart Hospital in a stable condition. Police admit correctly fitted car seats may have saved their lives.
People that secure their children in proper child safety restraints always stand a better chance of surviving.
The early morning crash forced the closure of the busy Bass Highway for a number of hours as crews worked to clear the scene. A Devonport man was killed on the same highway earlier this month. The state's road toll now sits at 11, more than double than at this time last year. Another highway tragedy with heartbreaking ramifications for 3 families. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
The family of 7-year-old Archie Green have paid tribute to their boy and thanked the emergency services who tried to save his life in the aftermath of a boating incident on the east coast. Our reporter Ruby Kamain joins us now. Good evening, Ruby. It's an unbelievable tragedy. How is the family coping?
Rachel, they say they're facing their worst nightmare at this time. In a statement, they said Archie was adored by all who met him. The 7-year-old died following a boating incident at Orford over the weekend. He was on a sea biscuit when police say the boat towing him lost control and he was thrown onto rocks. His family have described the first responders as fantastic humans, thanking the 000 operators, ambulance responders and the rescue helicopter crew and staff at the Royal Hobart Hospital. Tonight, they're describing their Archie Bear as a superhero, Lego and Transformer-obsessed little man, a beautiful boy who was one of a kind, chatty, happy, social and outgoing. Now, as this family faces an unbelievable loss, the community is rallying around them. An online fundraiser to help celebrate Archie's life has reached more than $20,000 in just 7 hours. Archie's family have said the outpouring of support and love has been wonderfully overwhelming. And Rachel, there's a link to the fundraiser on our Facebook page.
The Public Sector Union has revealed inmates refused to leave an area on fire at Risdon Prison yesterday, putting pressure on staff and crews. The incident bringing issues such as understaffing and resourcing back under the spotlight, but the state government insists it's investing more into the prison.
Emergency services attend a blaze inside the walls of Risdon Prison. The Public Sector Union today shedding some light on the difficult task that unfolded yesterday.
It was set by inmates in that unit, but it was far beyond just burning mattresses and some clothing. They were hoping that they could easily get the inmates out, but I understand they resisted and they had to be forced to come out.
The state government revealing 2 inmates and 2 staff members were then transported to the Royal Hobart Hospital with smoke inhalation. But the union says this could have all been avoided.
If the prison was properly run, if it had been properly staffed and properly facilitated all the way along, we wouldn't be in this situation now. It ends up with correctional officers being injured or ending up in hospital, and they have a right to a safe workplace, which they are not getting.
Our custodial area, of course, we've always said that we're investing more in keeping in our essential services.
Calls now renewed for reviews into resources within the facility.
We need a full safety audit to be conducted, and that shouldn't be a hard thing for the Minister to commit to. Do they have the equipment that's required? Do they have the resourcing that's required to deal with another emergency incident like this?
I think there needs to be a review into how the breathing apparatus operated yesterday, because I understand a lot of the units were not serviceable, or the oxygen in them didn't last for sufficient periods.
We're talking about a northern prison to improve that capability further.
An investigation is ongoing. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
1 year after devastating bushfires tore through the Huon Valley, the region's major draw card, the Terhune Airwalk, is finally back up and running. It's been a tough year for businesses suffering through a steep decline in tourists, but there's now hope the site's opening will reinvigorate the community.
Surrounded by charred trees left blackened by a devastating fire, a new look Terhune Airwalk finally ready to reopen.
I'm very relieved. It's been a very interesting 13 months now.
This was all that was left of the iconic attraction 1 year ago, fires almost destroying the entire structure.
It was really quite startling to see what we thought could possibly never happen actually happen, and the amount of devastation in the area generally was just beyond my belief anyway.
Since then, a crew of hundreds have worked to get the site back up and running.
We replaced over 9,000 bolts within the airwalk itself. We repainted the structure and replaced all the guy wires. So as you can imagine, it's been quite an extensive job to make sure that this facility is open.
8,000 trees also planted to regenerate the forest. The site now ready to open to the public this weekend.
It's a huge boost for Geeveston, for the Huon area, and I want the community to get behind the reopening.
The loss of the airwalk has had a major impact on tourism in the region, and while there still are bits of this area yet to fix up, owners are hopeful tourists will start coming back once it reopens.
Traffic to the Huon area was dramatically reduced as a result, and so there's a number of other businesses, many other businesses, and individuals who perhaps whose work and income has been affected.
Other projects, including from Mona, attempted to draw tourists back in, but the mayor admitted they didn't quite fill the gap.
That probably hasn't benefited everybody in the Huon Valley. It certainly would have benefited people more so in Geeveston.
But for this business, the wait is finally over, ready to bring life back to the region. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
And it was a rainy start to festivities at the Launceston Cup, but as the sun came out, so too did the best dressed. And when it comes to fashions on the field, there's no horsing around.
It's a day of glamour and fun, with punters trotting into Mowbray Racecourse for the Launceston Cup. There was fierce competition on the track as well as on the field, with the city's best dressed signing up for fashions on the field. But it wasn't easy to judge, with the panel taking a second attempt before crowning a winner.
It was very, very difficult. It's such a variety of fashion up there today.
I made this dress, so it took me about a week to get that all ready, and then I was up about midnight last night trying to get the underskirt ready as well, so it was a bit of a process, but it was great.
For the first time in years, both the men's and women's winners are locals from Launceston, and both first-time attendees to the Cup. The prize pool a strong draw card to the event, with overseas trips up for grabs. The best dress for the men winning a trip to Thailand.
Take my wife over, we'll look for hopefully a good time away. We've got 3 young kids, so I'm sure their grandparents are going to be stoked to be looking after them for 5 days while we go over in Bangkok.
This morning's wet weather not enough to put off punters. Some made their bets with the bookies, while others made their bets at the bar.
50-50, we really enjoy the horse races, but the champagne is important.
No, actually probably 60-40.
Drinking.
Bundy rum.
Well, we've only just got our nose in front, so they're picking the right horses at the moment.
While crowd numbers were down on previous years, spirits were high.
I think it's just the camaraderie and just the people enjoying each other's company.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, there's progress on the shake-up of Tasmania's gaming industry, with the government releasing a consultation paper on legislation to end federal group's monopoly on poker machines. The company will keep its casino licences, but the fees and tax rates it will pay still haven't been released.
One of the election commitments, of course, was to break the monopoly, and this legislation or this process that we've put in place certainly does that.
They haven't released legislation. We've been waiting 2 years. We want a commitment from Peter Gutwein today that when he does release a bill, he'll release it with time for the community and for Labor to assess and to amend that bill.
Under the plan, the community support levy will be doubled, but there are no proposed changes to the gambling harm minimisation framework. Police are continuing investigations into what's believed to be a deliberately lit fire at Geeveston last week. A clean-up effort has now started at this business, the Bears Went Over the Mountain Cafe and B&B, after fire tore through the building. The owner, who was inside with her family at the time, said they've been left shaken but relieved no one was hurt.
We just run back in here and grab the kids, and already smoke is filling up in here. This all happened within like 3 minutes. That's how quickly it was. I think at least 10 minutes would have been over, or if I didn't hear the alarm or anything.
Authorities say the fire caused around $80,000 damage. There could be a new job for Tasmania's favourite icebreaker when it's replaced with a new Antarctic vessel. The Aurora Australis could become a specialist emergency response ship under a plan put forward by the Maritime Union. It would be put to use responding to natural disasters like recent bushfires in coastal areas, and could also be deployed to help our neighbouring countries. The union says it's suited to the job because of its capacity to carry fuel, food, equipment, and it also features a helipad, hospital and the capability to generate drinking water. Backers of the plan are currently lobbying politicians. And the issues with Tiger Air will also affect Tasmania, resulting in the loss of a key route. The airline is scrapping the state's only current direct flight to the Gold Coast from Hobart Airport. The route will be cancelled at the end of April, just over a year since it became part of Tiger's permanent schedule. The flights were described by parent company Virgin as unprofitable. An order banning the Bob Brown Foundation from protesting in forest areas has been set aside. The foundation received the orders from WorkSafe Tasmania on February 20, under the grounds its protest action was endangering the lives of both protesters and those working in the area. Lawyers for the Bob Brown Foundation launched an appeal on Monday, arguing that the terms were too broad and unconstitutional. The decision means protest action is allowed to resume. If you've dreamed of becoming a career firefighter, now could be your chance. The Tasmania Fire Service is looking for 30 new recruits to bolster its numbers. It's looking for people from diverse backgrounds to join.
It's important that we have high calibre career firefighters that we have that are multi-skilled and able to turn their hand to all sorts of things like hazmat, road crash, high-rise, ship fires, whatever it be.
Applications open next week.
Home by Midnight is the winner of this year's Launceston Cup. The 7-year-old gelding was neck and neck with Gay Waterhouse's Taikamochi, heading into the final straight before pulling away.
150 to go. Home by Midnight is racing away from Taikamochi, and further back Dogmatic Last Warrior, but Home by Midnight's going to be home by a minute. Eased Up wins the cup by 2.
Trained by Patrick Payne, Home by Midnight paid $11.60 for the win. Bo Webster has revived a down-and-out Tigers outfit and a dramatic third day of Sheffield Shield action. Webster smashed 27 fours and 3 sixes on his way to 187. Then Western Australia's top 3 batsmen all went for a duck. At stumps, WA is 6 for 161 heading into the final day. Tasmania needed a flying start to day 3, but the loss of one of the few stayers seriously soured hopes.
That's off the edge and McDermott's out.
With only 4 wickets in hand and a deficit of beyond 100 runs, the Tigers were on life support. Bo Webster cracked the century mark.
A fantastic counter-attacking innings.
But whether he'd have enough cattle to continue his innings was the question.
The fielders collide, but the catch is taken.
Simon Malenko was followed back to the pavilion by Sam Rainbird, but the tail enders stood their ground to give Webster time to score.
And bang, that one's dispatched. Huge shot right into the David Boone stand.
The T20 mindset making for a runner ball average when Webster's stand ended just shy of a double century. Then, who saw this coming?
Bell's got the breakthrough wicket that Tasmania needed.
One duck turned into two, and Sean Marsh made it three.
Off the edge, caught at second slip by Bo Webster. Western Australia is 3 for 6. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Marsh having the added ignominy of being dismissed for a pair. A fine catch by Charlie Wakeham would add to WA's woes. First innings luminaries Cameron Green and Josh Philippi performed strongly again, but their removal late in today's play has the Tigers licking their lips for a tantalising final day of play. The Northwest Thunder has finalised its squad for the NBL1 season. American tall Brandon Conley is joining the side after earning a reputation for booming slam dunks when playing in the US and Europe. The club says the 6'7" star attraction will arrive in Tasmania in early April, once his current contract in Germany expires. It follows the signings of fellow Americans Samaje Haynes-Jones and local Mason Bragg.
Good evening, a high of 19 at Launceston today, 17 across Hobart and Burnie, Devonport 18. A high of 17 about Grove, Friendly Beaches and St Helens, 16 across Ouse and Strawn and 8 at Lyweenie. On the close-up shows a cloud band moving across the state. Further out, mid to low level cloud extended across WA and southern South Australia, while isolated thunderstorms developed about New South Wales and Queensland during the afternoon. Tomorrow shows a cold front crossing Tasmania while several troughs sit over the mainland. West to northwesterly winds tomorrow 25 to 30 knots, swells up to 5 metres in the west and south and up to 1 metre in the north. A gale warning is current for northern coastal waters from Stanley to St Helens Point and for southern and western waters from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape for westerly winds. And a strong wind warning is current for all remaining coastal waters, the southeast inshore waters, the Central Plateau and southwest lakes. Tomorrow's forecast now 19 across Hobart and Cygnet, New Norfolk 18. In the north, a high of 19 across Launceston and Devonport, possible showers at Campbelltown. Showers and windy about Strawn and Smithton 19 at Burnie. St Helens and Swansea reaching 20 and becoming windy at Fingal. The UV forecast mostly very high 8s across the state. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast Friday, showers about the west and far south, fine elsewhere. Saturday, showers about the west and far south. And Sunday, showers in the west and far south, clearing in the evening. Capital cities partly cloudy and 22 in Adelaide tomorrow. Showers and possible storms in Brisbane and Melbourne 21. And currently Hobart mostly sunny and 15, Launceston sunny and 17 and Devonport 15. That's all in weather tonight, Rach.
Well, that's all your news for now. I'll be back a little later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.